Da 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 la. Da 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 da. Well, my friends, I'm not really sure why, but I've got the concept of deals with devils on my mind. Perhaps because I find myself once more in a period of wanting, but specifically of wanting a quick and simple and selfish solution to complicated problems. I think it is natural for us to want quick fixes, easy answers. We want the world to capitulate to our wants and desires so quickly, without us even really understanding why the conundrum has been presented to us in the first place. The working through of it can be the real gift. But oh, it's so very difficult for mortal, longing things such as us to accept that. To accept that the growing within the tension may be the real gift sometimes. I used to think of stories about humans seeking unholy bargains as something so obviously foolish. What could be so important that it could be worth selling your very soul to something so clearly evil? But a few things changed in my heart. First, that is, the concept of evil. I'm not sure it exists the way we've been told it does. Or at least I think it depends what you want to believe. If you want to believe that selling your soul to something completely and utterly evil is possible, then surely it will be. But if you reject the notion that anything in our universe is completely and utterly evil to begin with, this idea becomes tantalizingly complex. Second is the concept of soul. What exactly would you be selling? Is it yours to sell to begin with? Is a soul such a small thing that it can be bartered with, like currency anyway? And what of the entity you are bargaining with? I think the whole thing is rather foolish anyhow, as that soul is quite possibly part of the vastness of existence that you are. Anyway, that's the belief I hold, that we are all things, good and evil, dark and light. So it's only just bargaining with yourself at any rate. And finally, I have come to believe that sometimes there are things you want so very badly that no amount of growth or introspection or belief can quell such a want. And it is therefore a very human thing to want to turn to a supernatural, otherworldly force to attain it. I used to find it so unseemly and unlikely, the whole concept. But I have come to understand that the depth of human want can be much more powerful than we could ever know. Home, in my tower, with my beloved's shadow. I see water in the distance, over the horizon, and I feel peace at the sight of the blue sparkling in the sun. But I still feel want. I think about deals with devils, and a story comes to my heart. Once upon a time, there was a young man who very much wanted love. He was quite alone and quite inept. He found it difficult to speak with anyone regardless of age, gender, location. He was shy and he was awkward and he was so very lonesome. Friends, he only had a few, but they were just as much fishes out of water as he. For a time, it was enough that they had each other, but eventually they grew out of their awkwardness and either found love or family or career or good looks or riches or something to keep them busy. He assumed they were quite happy, but, we'll never really know that. Often when we get one thing we want, our hearts simply turn themselves to another thing that they want instead. So making assumptions that these friends had all of their problems solved by having one solved is foolish. However, to the young man who found he could not even have one wish fulfilled, a burning and terrible jealousy filled him up. If he had riches, he would find it easier to be confident with others. If he was powerful or famous or handsome, he felt certain he could easily speak with a person who caught his eye. Or if someone found him and loved him anyway for the diamond in the rough that he was, then he would be able to let go of all of that anyway. He knew it. He was sure of it. He just needed someone to see into him and past his bumbling exterior. But how? He was too scared to speak with anyone. He didn't know how. The loneliness burned at him so keenly. He found himself dreadfully and dangerously sad. The kind of sadness overcame him that brought him to turn to dark magic. Now he was no wizard. He was no witch, no sorcerer, nothing of the sort. But magic, I think, has very little in fact to do with discipline or lineage or anything like that. Well, it depends. If you believe that saying the correct words in a book or lighting the correct number and color of candles and mixing herbs with accuracy and detail will work, then it will. This is my belief, take it or leave it. The power that these things hold is only the power that you attribute to them. Some bakers need to measure everything to complete precision and follow a recipe down to the letter. Otherwise, their cake will fall flat and taste like ash. Other bakers can go from their heart and throw in ingredients by feeling fistfuls and improvise as they go and create the most spectacularly delicious cakes in the whole world. I suspect that magic is similar. Now this young man in pain, he lit a candle in a dark room and he wept, and he felt his soul experience the strangest kind of surrender. A sort of acknowledging that he had no interest in exploring any other avenues or trying anything else to improve himself. He wanted what he wanted, and he wanted it fast and simple. Otherwise, he felt he would go mad. "Take my soul," his heart uttered. "I've heard of fiends who will make deals. I've read the books, I've seen the plays. Surely they must be based on something. Take my soul. What am I doing with it anyway? All I want is to love someone and to be loved. I shall go mad if I don't have it. I shall feel myself slipping away, further and further away, until there is nothing left of me. Take my soul and give me this." A most delicious bargain. A voice in the shadows, so eager to snap up a vulnerable little morsel such as this. A desperate little heart to gnaw on. Oh, how wonderful. "Speak your desire, mortal." The young man's heart dropped. He hadn't expected it to work. He felt a deep fear, a rolling nausea, but most of all, a dark excitement. I want to be loved. Of course you do. Of course you do. You have called out to me, and I will answer. I will make you desirable to all. I will make it so that no one will be able to resist your charms. You won't even understand the full power of your charisma by the time you shake my hand. But what, dear boy, will you give me? What do you want? It's my soul, isn't it? Isn't that always what you fiends from another place want in stories like these? Clever, clever, clever. Too clever. Let us skip the performances, then, and shake on it. A form began to manifest itself from the shadows. An elegant form, tall and sculpted as though from dark marble stone. All soft curves and strong muscles and lithe limbs. Difficult to see in the darkness, but skin marbled with those rich and dark shades, only shocks of gold running through their skin here and there shining against the candlelight. And those gold eyes, too, among the black and grey darkness of the rest of their being. Smooth and curved horns peeled back from their refined skull, almost transparent, and rippled, too, like agate. A face both sweet and conniving at the same time. Without a doubt, the most beautiful thing the young man had ever seen. And when the fiend reached their hand towards him with long, sparkling claws and huge, graceful fingers, he went weak in the knees. "Well, you called. and I came. Are we to make this bargain? Foolish, 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 he knew. It was foolish to fall in love so quickly with something so diabolical. He knew in his heart that perhaps he was just confused. Perhaps he was just lonely. Make the bargain, find a wife or a husband or a spouse, a mortal one. Find love wherever you can, but not here. This is madness. But in that moment he also realized he had never felt his heart pull towards another person anyway. He had wanted it to happen. More importantly, he'd wanted to feel that others wanted him. He was so focused on whether others could love him that he had never even realized that his heart had never felt love in the first place. Until now. If you don't want my gifts, then... No, I want them, he cried out, and clasped the creature's hand in both of his, and shook vigorously. But their hand was so soft and so cold. It was lovely. The creature's gold eyes flickered from confidence to confusion momentarily. For you see, they had never had their hand grasped so tenderly, yet so desperately. Where this creature came from, that kind of thing never happened. It was all distant bargains and menacing laughter and dastardly grins. No one held anyone's hand. No one looked at each other with that kind of longing, that kind of reaching soul. But they also had what they wanted. The handshake, the done deal. Enjoy, the creature whispered, and disappeared. The young man stood in his home, mouth agape, shocked by the sudden loss. Well, the demon was true to their word. Day after day after day came and went, and the young man moved through the world with charm and self-assuredness. A light in his eyes and a chime in his voice that hadn't been there before. At the market, lovely ladies bashfully approached him and asked him to call on them later. At the pub, striking gentlemen stammered small talk towards him and invited him to their social events. Walking through the park, all manner of dashing individuals introduced themselves and couldn't wait to have more of his company. Our now confident and handsome and sparkling young man could have any company he wanted, whenever he wanted it. But it was all empty. He didn't feel fulfilled. He didn't feel satisfied. All he could think of were those gorgeous, golden eyes, that shadowy, gleaming skin, those long and powerful hands, those shining horns. He called on his demon again one night. He lit a candle in his room and willed it, and he found it was enough. "What is it, my fine fellow?" the voice echoed. "Are you unhappy with your gift? Do you not have everything you wanted?" "What have you done?" he growled, smashing a wine glass. "Is this some kind of diabolical curse?" "Whatever on earth do you mean?" A twist, there's always a twist in these stories. I see the twist here. I see it so clearly. I ask you to make me lovable and beloved by mortals, by my peers, by people in my life, so that I can finally be happy, so I can finally have the life I want. And all I want is you. All I think about is the demon I made the bargain with in the first place. My mind is occupied only by the very creature who bestowed on me this gift, as you call it. I see it. I see the cruelty. So what do you want? How do I free myself from this? A long silence overtook the room. The creature was standing in the shadows once more, the candlelight shining across that translucent skin, those opalescent horns. Those golden eyes were not cruel, though they seemed wide with... Was it surprise? You're not happy with our deal? No, I'm not happy. All I think about is you, whatever in all hells you are. I've been tricked. I have not tricked you. Lies, 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 only the lies of a demon. I have not tricked you. The creature roared and moved fast as a flash so that they were inches away from the young man's face. They stared into his eyes and they saw the truth of what he was saying. And he too saw the truth in the demon's eyes. That this was not a trick. They were genuinely shocked. And the two souls, bound in an unlikely puzzle together, really looked at each other, realizing that for the first time for each of them, the man was feeling love for another, and the creature was feeling loved. The demon raised their hands up towards his skull, and they trembled with what was a strange mix of rage, bewilderment, horror, and hesitation. They thought to crush him. They imagined they might destroy him. They should. This was outrageous. But his hands raised up to them first and grasped them once more. Soft, cold, strong. And the demon exhaled at the feeling once more of someone holding their hands. Insanity. Insanity that can only be described with music. As the young man used his newfound charms to sing the demon a song. Is there somewhere you can fly, where you'll forget about what could have been you and I? Is there anyone who knows of your longing, light and joy, sorrows, wants and woes? I'm not much, I'm not strong, I'm not smart, but I'm not wrong. I am flesh, I am soul, I'm not afraid, I'm not whole. Take my hand, dance with me, we were always meant to be. Take my hand, then you'll see, I'm the one who'll set you free. Oh. Would you hate me if I said the young man kissed the demon? Would you roll your eyes and think that I'm a hopeless, supernatural romance writer? Would you allow me this moment where they connected beyond dimension and narrative and expectation? The demon allowed it. The demon endured it. The demon melted into it until they eventually pulled away, eyes full of fear, and they disappeared into the shadows once more. The young man tried to forget. The young man tried to be satisfied with the false attention of everyone else in his world. The young man tried to convince himself it was all imagined. But he couldn't forget. His heart couldn't forget. And he couldn't fall out of love. His soul was the demon's. They would meet again surely, and he would be respectful. He would honor their bargain. He would forget his longing. His soul was the creature's, but so was his heart. Years passed, and though he had what he thought he wanted all those years ago, lo and behold, he was not completely happy, not as he thought he'd be. The wishes of our youth do not appease the intricate web of our lifetimes of experience. He was not without joy either. He found that life had its ups and downs, its wins, its losses, as we all probably do. He had grown tired of everyone's love. He was wildly popular, and he was known for being a cold and callous heartbreaker. So he was, for everyone fell in love with him, and he fell in love with no one. Eventually, he learned to be happy enough with his own company. But every night, as he went to bed, he fantasized about golden eyes and marbled horns and elegant fingers and that voice and that kiss. He fell ill. It happens. He lay dying. It happens. He was alone. It happens. A handsome man, a solitary bachelor, a charming gentleman, all alone by choice, in his deathbed, calm and melancholy and just waiting. One candle was lit, but that candle extinguished itself one warm summer night. And he heard a voice singing in the shadows. It was his song. He knew it from all those years ago. And his great love from another world sang to him. The fiendish monster who had stolen his heart. The creature who had learned what love is from this lonesome, longing man. And he sang along. Is there somewhere you can fly? There's nowhere you can fly, where you'll forget about what never been, what you and I. Is there anyone who knows? There's no one else who knows of your longing, light and joy, sorrows, wants and woes. I'm not mine. not strong, I'm not strong. I'm not smart, I'm not smart. But I'm not wrong, I'm not wrong. I am flesh, I am flesh. I am soul, I am soul. I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid. I'm not whole. Take my hand, dance with me. We were always meant to be. Take my hand, then you'll see. I'm the one who'll set you free. I will live on and on, dancing till the break of dawn. No escape, no release. Will the wonders ever cease? We will live on and on, dancing till the break of dawn. No escape, no release. Will the wonders ever cease? We will live on and on, dancing till the break of dawn. No escape, no release. Will the wonders ever cease? Oh, never let me go. Oh, never let you go. A kiss, unlike any kiss. An embrace deeper than any embrace. Long, strong limbs circling him, catching him up, pulling him from his deathbed and out of gravity and into the air and into the vastness of the void. The creature took him to their world of darkness and stone and coldness and solitude, where they would be together forever, beyond either of their experience, beyond either of their worlds, a location beyond location, a story beyond story. He didn't sell his soul. He gave it. Well, there you have it. A deal with the devil turned quite romantic. What can I say? His soul wanted love, so I think he found a soul that wanted love. Like attracts like, so they say. Perhaps that's how it works. I don't know. Can't expect all diabolical fiends to fulfill their role blindly, if we don't want to just fulfill our roles blindly either, eh? My shadowy love beside me. I think on things that I want so badly. I would give my soul. But there's nothing to give. It's right here, for the taking. Right, beloved? La, la, la. Hello, my friends, and thanks so much for listening to episode 279 of On a Dark, Cold Night. This is your writer, narrator, podcaster, host, composer, etc., Kristen Zaza, and I hope you've been being well, have been doing well, have been resting well, all that wonderful summer stuff. Lots of gratitude going out as always to everyone who supports the show monthly on Patreon. I appreciate it very much, my friends. I do have some news regarding my Patreon page and the future of On a Dark Cold Night. As of now, everyone who pledges $1 or more US a month gets access to my complete soundtrack of over 270 downloadable tracks, while everyone who pledges $5 US or more a month, that's under the Kindred Spirit Patreon tier, gets that, a monthly tarot reading video posted every full moon, and up to 70 bonus meditation episodes. The news is that now that those quick moment meditations are done, though as I said, you'll still be able to access them, I'm starting a new perk, and this will be ongoing once the 300 episodes that are publicly available, or that will be publicly available from On a Dark Cold Night are finished. So, that's still a ways away. But, this new perk I'm talking about is going to go on past that, I hope. Anyway, every new moon, I'm going to release a full-length episode, probably longer than the usual podcast episodes, sort of a conversation with the new moon, or that's what I'm calling it, where we just sort of hang out together in an unscripted and intimate way. All kindred spirits have access to a community chat that I'll keep an eye on throughout the month, where we can discuss whatever's on our minds, what goals we may want to make for the new lunar cycle, some things rumbling around in our hearts, whatever you like, really. And I'll pull from that to address topics and give voice to those conversations in a sleepy, relaxing, ASMR-y way. Anyway, if you're excited to check that out, the first conversation with the new moon episode will be released on the new moon that's coming up, I think it's August 4th. To learn more about that and other perks, visit patreon.com/darkcoldnight. And as always, you can donate one time only without any perks at ko-fi.com/darkcoldnight, or by buying a t-shirt or hoodie at bonfire.com/on-a-dark-cold-night. Another really exciting thing is that I've been working on a book. It's called On a Dark Cold Night, Tales of Loneliness, Creation, and Love. It's a collection of 28 of my favorite stories from the 3 seasons of the podcast, and 2 original, brand new stories I wrote that are exclusive to the book as prologue and epilogue. And there's also a preface that I wrote. The cover art was created by an amazing artist and friend of the show named Newt. Some of the stories have been tweaked with little changes and surprises to adjust to the medium, as always retaining that intimate connection with the reader first and foremost. I really hope you like it. The Kindle ebook is currently available for pre-order on Amazon for $4.99 US and Canadian. And the paperback is going to be available very soon. I'm aiming for Friday, July 19th. So keep an eye on my social media, and I will also put ads on the podcast announcing the release too. So if you want to pre-order the ebook or look for the paperback after the 19th, again, the title is On a Dark Cold Night, Tales of Loneliness, Creation, and Love. Author is, of course, me, Kristen Zaza. You can follow me on social media on Instagram at Dark Cold Night Podcast, on Facebook and YouTube under On a Dark Cold Night, on Blue Sky and TikTok at Kristen Zaza, and on Twitter at A Dark Cold Night. Reviews and ratings for the podcast are always welcome on iTunes, Spotify, or where else you like to do so. Thank you so much for listening and for joining me this week. I hope you'll forgive me a bit of romance and melancholy this time. Isn't that what we're all here for sometimes, though? Anyway, sweet dreams, my friends. Be well. This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network. Sonar.